Good morning. This is Gary Scarana with the SunRise podcast. We're on every Monday and Wednesday in the morning. SunRise is part of Dr. Surajit Khanna's Returning Youth Initiative, where we are returning post-incarcerated and at-risk youth back into society by providing them homes, training, business opportunities for ownership, jobs, education, whatever is needed. Now, on SunRise, we highlight a couple of different things. Organizations that deal with the post-incarcerated. And today we have a very exciting person who's not only going to talk about friends and family and clients who have been arrested, but she's going to talk about her personal challenges and how she has overcome them. And she's part of the Dr. Surajit Khanna's Returning Youth Women's Empowerment Talk we're having on November 9th, Thursday, 2023 in Daytona Beach. Stay tuned for more information. 5:30, we're going to have 4 or 5 women. We have just amazing, amazing stories. And one of the most exciting things I have as a guest here is Phebe Fuqua. Phebe, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're very excited to have you, and also to have you on the Women's Empowerment Talk. Now, just a quick question. You did tell me you've had family members, you've had friends, and had clients, all who have been arrested and or incarcerated. And I just want to ask, since you're so surrounded with this, what have you done to make sure that you personally or your other family members that you're responsible for don't follow in these footsteps?
Well, one thing is I've watched it from a little child being told about it, because being in ministry, you see some church members as well who've been affected by it, and then just around family, friends, all of that. I just made a choice where if I see something, I want to make sure doing the best I can to not avoid the same choices that others did, because I look at the consequences.
So church had a big perspective.
Absolutely, yes.
People have challenges with the law or with prison or incarceration, but you've had some very, very serious challenges in another area we're going to talk about today. And if I can just be honest, I believe, Phoebe, that you had a literal death sentence. I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2, but you had a death sentence. Is that true?
That is very true. A couple times I've had death sentences.
A couple times. What were they?
So I was diagnosed with cancer. I had breast cancer, and then also multiple sclerosis, which really had the reoccurring remitting form of multiple sclerosis. So it affected my organs as well as, my fine motor skills. So when it affected my organs, it had tumors on my brain, fluid, and my body completely was shutting down. So with cancer, MS, all combined, they told me you only have a few months to live, and all type of things.
How long ago was this?
So the last death diagnosis was in April of 2019.
Wow. Now I remember you were giving a presentation at work and something happened, right?
Absolutely. I was giving a presentation. I was talking to staff, and I'm talking, and I'm usually like really energetic. Let's go. We're going to have a great day. And they were like, what is going on? And I was slurring, and I didn't realize it. I was leaning to the side, and they were looking so concerned. I'm like, stop playing. Let's go. Let's go. Then all of a sudden, boom, I fell to the floor. And then I just remember being in the hospital afterwards. They were scanning me and trying to figure out, like, what's wrong? Did she have a seizure? Did she have a stroke? Like, what's going on? To only find out you have MS, multiple sclerosis, after doing a spinal
tap. MS, cancer, breast cancer. You said there was something in your brain. There was issues on your brain.
So with my brain. So the first bout of cancer was really when I was younger. I was 18, 19. So I had fibroid tumors and malignant tumors on my ovaries. So that hindered me from having babies. And so then fast forward, that was all taken care of. It was very minor. But then fast forward with the whole breast cancer, that was a challenge in itself. But when it comes to the tumors, that came from MS. So I had 5 tumors on my brain and 3 on my
Oh, that's
cervical spine. And then I had the onset of PML. So I really didn't dive into
PML.
all
What
the.
is that? PML?
So it's pretty much in short, it's like PML and JC virus is pretty much when fluid is on your brain,
My
and
goodness.
it affects how your brain functions. That's
Now,
just like the short way to
you
explain.
you mentioned you had trouble with having children, but you do have children, don't you, Phoebe?
I do, yes. I had challenges. I was told at 18 and 18, 19 that you wouldn't have children. That's it. Like, you are barren, as you know, the previous generations would say, you're barren. You can't, nothing is functioning properly. I'm like, really? So yes, my ex-husband and I, we were in our mind, we were going to adopt. We were looking at different babies and was like, okay, we're gonna adopt or something like that. And then all of a sudden, you know, the natural way, you miss a cycle and you're like, as a joke, let's just go get the cheapest pregnancy test. And I remember it was $1.07. We went to the dollar store. It was like, we're not going to waste money if it's going to be negative. I was like, oh, this thing read very fast. Let's get a real test. So we went to Walgreens and paid the top dollar amount. Let's get the one that says pregnant and not pregnant, the plus sign. We spent so much money on tests. And they kept reading very fast to call my doctor. And he was like, oh, don't get used. That's just hormones. You're really not pregnant. Let's take blood work. Blood never lies. Okay. So all my hype went all the way down. So did blood work and the HCG levels were very high. I was like, oh, I'm pregnant. He was like, yeah, but you might lose it. So don't get
Oh
attached
my
to it.
goodness.
I'm like, man. So,
My
okay.
goodness.
I'm like, not getting attached. He's like, wait until you're 17 weeks. At least you're in your second trimester. And then we can look and see how the baby's functioning. With your history, your health histories, it might not be a good thing, whatever. So that's why I end up, going that route.
So you've had success overcoming what they called you barren. Then you had
Right.
MS and breast cancer and tumors.
Yeah.
There are people out there today who are suffering with health issues. They're going through the medical boards, the doctors, they're doing everything they can. However, you have a platform that helps people beyond what the medical society is doing, that really helps people. Tell us what you did to be successful, victorious over your death sentences.
First things first is a mindset. I had to make a choice. We have all type of choices, and we have the bittersweet thing called choice that God's given us. We have a choice to waddle in the diagnosis, or we have a choice to shift our mindset on what the diagnosis is doing to us. Do we own it, or the diagnosis own us? So I shifted my mindset and I started to focus in on how I can properly heal myself with the help of God, and then also took a natural route of healing. So it was a combination of things. It wasn't just, so anytime you do any type of treatment, whether it's physical therapy or surgeries or whatever, those are temporary fix, where you have a healing process, but then also if you're not changing your lifestyle, it will come back. So what I did was change my lifestyle, change my diet, started to work out. I spoke to my body. Everything that it was not functioning properly, I researched on how it's supposed to function. And I started to look at it. I even spoke to the mitochondriacs of my body. I spoke to everything that was part of the pathology of my being. I spoke to it. And it took time. But I did that.
What did you
I took a
say
natural.
when you spoke to it? What did you say?
Okay, I'll give you an example. With MS, I could not feel the left side of my body and I couldn't walk, talk, or function. So I remember how my toes felt when I wiggled them. So I said, toes, you're going to function. Like, what do you do? I would look at them and I would say, okay, I need you to wiggle. Then the right side of my body was functioning. So I would look at my right side and I would see like that. Then I would see this one doing nothing. I couldn't feel it. And I was just focused so hard on it. The day that I was able to do like this to my toes, I rejoiced. I couldn't still walk. I couldn't feel anything. But the fact that I was able to move, I spoke to it. When I had a water bottle, I would drop it just like that, because my hands were weak, but I would say, no, you're not going to function that way. That's not how God designed you to function. I need you to hold this water bottle and grip it. When I was doing something as drinking, I would choke because everything was lazy. I would speak to it every part of my body because I realized this is my temple. I have control over it. And it was a lot. Many days I would cry, but I had to take control over it.
So you took control by speaking directly to the issues that are affecting you. You're going to be talking about this on November 9th, right, when we do the Women's Empowerment.
Absolutely.
And this is a great message for anybody out there who is struggling with health issues. You may be depressed. You may be down. Well, then come hear Phoebe speak, and she'll tell you how to change your circumstances. Please join us. Phoebe, thank you for joining us. We're on every Wednesday and Monday mornings on SunRise. You can reach us at returningyouth.com. That's returningyouth.com. And you can also reach us at our YouTube page, which is the @ Returning Youth. And if you have a story that you want to share having to do with post-incarcerated or being arrested or being at risk, please contact us at Returning Youth, and we will see you next time. Thank you.